For 7 minutes, Dr. Richard Hale was clinically dead, a scientist, a skeptic, a man who believed only in what could be measured and proven. But what he saw beyond death changed everything. And now he has returned with a warning, one that could alter the course of humanity itself. In 2025, reality as we know it will begin to shift. The veil between worlds is thinning, consciousness is evolving, and those who are not prepared will be left behind. Efau. Hale didn't just witness the future, he felt it, saw the energy shift happening at the very core of our existence. He was shown the coming storm, the great purification, and the choice each of us will have to make. Science and spirituality are merging. Hidden truths will be exposed. The fabric of reality itself is changing. Some will embrace this awakening, stepping into a new era of understanding. Others will resist, clinging to fear, trapped in a crumbling illusion. Which path will you choose? Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to hear is not just a story, it's a message from beyond death, one that holds the key to navigating what's coming. And before we begin, make sure to subscribe, because many of you watch these videos but haven't hit that button yet. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and prepare for what's unfolding, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's dive into the experience that changed everything. Dr. Richard Hale never believed in life after death. As a quantum physicist, he spent his career dismissing the idea as mere superstition, arguing that consciousness was nothing more than electrical impulses in the brain. But on a cold evening, in December 2024, his entire worldview shattered in an instant. While working late in his lab, analyzing anomalous fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic field, he suddenly felt an intense pressure in his chest. The next moment, everything went black. He later learned that he had suffered a massive cardiac arrest. For over 7 minutes, his heart had stopped, but during that time, when he was clinically dead, he found himself in a vast, radiant realm unlike anything he had ever imagined. Suspended in an ocean of golden light, he felt no fear, no pain, only an overwhelming sense of knowing. It was as if he had been plugged into the very core of the universe, where time, space, and logic no longer operated as they did on Earth. Then they appeared. Beings of pure energy, shifting in iridescent hues, surrounding him with an indescribable presence. They did not speak in words, yet their messages flowed directly into his consciousness. And the first thing they conveyed was a revelation that sent chills through his very essence. You are witnessing the threshold of transformation. The veil between worlds is thinning. 2025 will change everything. Confused yet entranced, Dr. Hale tried to comprehend what they meant. He saw images flash before his mind, a world on the brink of chaos, people awakening to new truths, an unseen force reshaping existence itself. It was as if reality was being rewritten, and humanity stood at the crossroads of something immense. Before he could ask more, he felt a violent pull, a sensation of being yanked backward at unimaginable speed. Then, with a gasping breath, he jolted back to life on the hospital table. His heart was beating again, but nothing was the same. The experience had left an imprint on his soul, and he knew with absolute certainty that everything he once believed was about to be challenged. The moment Dr. Hale became aware of his surroundings beyond death, he felt something coursing through him, an energy unlike anything he had ever encountered. It wasn't just warmth or light, it was as if every cell of his being was vibrating at a frequency so intense that he could barely contain it. He wasn't just experiencing this energy, he was becoming it. The luminous beings surrounding him conveyed a startling truth. Earth itself was undergoing a profound energetic transformation. The very fabric of reality was shifting, and this was affecting everything. Human consciousness, emotions, even physical bodies at the molecular level. Your world is accelerating, they told him. The pulse of existence is rising. Those attuned will evolve. Those who resist will suffer. Visions flooded his mind. He saw millions of people across the planet experiencing strange phenomena, heightened intuition, vivid dreams, unexplained synchronicities. Some felt more connected to the universe than ever before, while others were overwhelmed by anxiety, confusion, and emotional turmoil. The energy was neutral, yet its effect depended entirely on one's ability to surrender to it. He realized, with a clarity beyond thought, that this vibrational shift was altering human DNA itself. Not in a way that could be immediately measured by traditional science, but in a manner that affected consciousness at its core. He saw strands of light weaving through human bodies, activating dormant potentials. The beings conveyed that this was only the beginning. "Your world will soon witness things beyond comprehension," they warned. Even as he absorbed this knowledge, he felt a force pulling him back. The energy he had merged with began to recede, leaving him with a profound sense of loss. And then, with a violent gasp, he was back, his body weak, his mind racing. Yet, something had changed forever. He could still feel the frequency lingering within him, as if he had been permanently attuned to something beyond the material world. As Dr. Hale stood in that boundless realm, he was suddenly overwhelmed by a series of visions, scenes of 2025 unfolding before him like a living prophecy. At first, the images were chaotic, protests erupting in cities, governments crumbling under the weight of secrets exposed, people struggling with an intense internal battle, fear versus awakening. It felt like the world was on the brink of collapse, but then a voice resonated through his very being. "Do not fear. This is not destruction. It is purification." The luminous entities surrounding him explained that what he was witnessing was an energetic recalibration, an intense but necessary shift that would strip away the illusions humanity had clung to for centuries. Corrupt systems, false narratives, and outdated structures were being dismantled, not to end civilization, but to prepare it for something greater. The vision continued, revealing two types of people in this upheaval. Some resisted with all their might, clinging to the past, fueled by fear and denial. For them, the transition was painful, disorienting, like being pulled under by a tidal wave. But others, those who surrendered to the change, found themselves rising above the storm, stepping into an era of clarity and expanded awareness. "The choice," the being said, "is entirely yours." Dr. Hale saw the storm intensify, natural disasters increasing in frequency, technological breakthroughs reshaping society overnight, truths long hidden coming to light. Yet, in the midst of it all, a new energy emerged. People were coming together in ways never seen before, forming communities based on unity, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of existence. The world wasn't ending, it was evolving. Then, just as suddenly as the visions had begun, they faded. Dr. Hale was left with one final message before being pulled back to his body. "Tell them, prepare them. The storm is coming, but beyond it lies the dawn of something extraordinary." Hale had spent his entire career proving that consciousness was merely a byproduct of the brain, a biochemical process destined to cease upon death. But as he stood in that otherworldly expanse, everything he thought he knew unraveled before his eyes. He wasn't supposed to be conscious. He wasn't supposed to exist beyond his body. And yet, here he was. The luminous beings guided him through a breathtaking revelation. Consciousness wasn't confined to the brain. It was the very fabric of reality itself. He saw vast, intricate patterns of energy weaving through everything, binding thought and matter together in ways he had only theorized about in quantum physics. He was witnessing the mechanics of existence itself, the bridge between science and spirituality that had eluded humanity for so long. As he absorbed this knowledge, he saw equations, formulas he didn't immediately recognize, yet understood instinctively. They confirmed what some physicists had speculated but never proven. Consciousness influences the physical world at the quantum level. Reality wasn't fixed, it was fluid, shaped by perception, intention, and belief. The beings conveyed that humanity was on the verge of rediscovering this truth, one that had been known to ancient civilizations but buried by modern science's rigid materialism. More astonishing still, they revealed that 2025 would mark the beginning of a massive scientific breakthrough, one that would force the world to reconsider the nature of existence itself. Researchers would begin to measure and document phenomena once dismissed as pseudoscience, the impact of consciousness on reality, energy fields surrounding the human body, and even communication beyond the veil of death. The separation between science and spirituality was an illusion, and that illusion was about to be shattered. Dr. Hale felt his very essence vibrating with this realization. He was being given a glimpse of the future, a world where physics and metaphysics no longer contradicted one another, but rather completed the puzzle of existence. And as he was pulled back to his body, one truth echoed through his mind. They will soon understand. The proof has always been there. Now it will be undeniable. As Dr. Hale drifted through that luminous dimension, the beings guided his awareness beyond Earth, far beyond. He saw the planet from a higher vantage point, not just as a physical sphere, but as a pulsating living entity surrounded by shifting waves of energy. Earth wasn't just changing, it was evolving. Then he was shown something extraordinary. In this elevated state, he could perceive data, scientific readings that confirmed the transformation unfolding on Earth. He saw fluctuations in the planet's magnetic field, unusual spikes in solar radiation, and massive energetic surges emanating from the core of the Earth itself. These weren't random anomalies. They were part of a cosmic realignment, a process accelerating toward a pivotal moment in 2025. The beings explained that these energy shifts were affecting human consciousness on a fundamental level. People were feeling it. Heightened emotions, sudden awakenings, an unshakable sense that reality itself was shifting. This is why so many are experiencing turmoil, they told him. They are resisting the frequency shift. But those who align with it will awaken to new possibilities. Dr. Hale was then shown glimpses of scientific discoveries yet to come. He saw researchers uncovering evidence of previously unknown energy fields surrounding all living things, fields that responded to thought and emotion. He saw breakthroughs in quantum mechanics revealing that human consciousness was not separate from the fabric of the universe, but an active participant in shaping it. He realized that what he was witnessing was the next frontier of science, one that would bridge the gap between the physical and the metaphysical. As he absorbed this revelation, he felt a pull. His time in this dimension was running out. But before he was thrust back into his body, the beings left him with a final message. Tell them to pay attention. The evidence is already there. Those who look will see the truth. When Dr. Hale returned to his body, something felt different. It wasn't just the lingering sense of energy from his experience. It was as if his very being had been altered at the core. His thoughts felt sharper, his senses more attuned. But the most startling change was his intuition. It was no longer just a fleeting feeling. It had become an undeniable force, guiding him with a certainty he had never known before. The beings had shown him that the energetic shifts occurring on Earth were not just external. They were rewriting humanity from within. Your DNA is not fixed, they had told him. It is a receiver, a living code capable of evolution. The frequency changes affecting the planet were triggering a transformation at the molecular level, activating dormant strands of DNA that had long remained asleep. This wasn't mutation in the traditional sense. It was an awakening of abilities that had always been part of the human blueprint, but had been suppressed over millennia. Dr. Hale saw visions of people around the world experiencing the same phenomenon. Some were beginning to have precognitive dreams, sensing events before they happened. Others reported heightened empathy, an almost telepathic connection with those around them. Creativity, problem-solving, and even physical resilience were accelerating in ways science couldn't yet explain. "This is only the beginning," the beings had said. "Humanity is evolving beyond what it once thought possible." But they also warned of resistance. Not everyone would embrace this shift. Those clinging to fear, doubt, and the old paradigms would struggle, experiencing the transformation as anxiety, confusion, even illness. The body and mind had to be in harmony with the new frequencies, or they would feel as if they were being torn apart. "Tell them to trust the process," they urged. "This is not the end of humanity, it is its true beginning." As Dr. Hale lay in his hospital bed, recovering from his ordeal, he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He was no longer the same man who had collapsed in his lab. Something inside him had awakened, and he wasn't alone. As Dr. Hale floated in that luminous realm, a sense of urgency filled the space around him. The beings who had guided him thus far now stood in perfect stillness, their glowing forms radiating something different, something heavier. He felt their message before they spoke it, as if it had been implanted directly into his soul. The shift is not coming. It is here. The weight of those words sent a tremor through him. The transformation he had witnessed wasn't years away, it was already unfolding, and humanity's window to prepare was narrowing. The beings conveyed that the energy shift was accelerating, intensifying emotions, thoughts, and even the hidden fears buried deep within people's subconscious. Those who refused to acknowledge this change would find themselves lost in chaos, overwhelmed by confusion, while those who listened to their intuition would navigate it with clarity. Then came the warning. Dr. Hale saw visions of massive societal unrest, people turning against one another, manipulated by forces seeking to keep them in a state of fear. "They will try to keep the world asleep," the beings revealed. "They will use distraction, division, and deception. But the truth cannot be hidden much longer." The visions intensified. He saw leaders scrambling to maintain control, suppressing knowledge that could empower humanity. He saw scientific discoveries being covered up, spiritual wisdom being ridiculed, and technology being used not to free people, but to chain them to a lower state of consciousness. "Many will be deceived," the beings warned, "but those who trust what they feel, what they know, will see through the illusion." Before he could ask more, one final message echoed through his being. "Prepare your mind, prepare your heart. The greatest test is coming, but so is the greatest awakening." And just like that, he was pulled back. His body gasped for air. The hospital room around him felt smaller, heavier, less real than where he had just been. But one thing was clear. He had been given a message, and it was now his responsibility to share it. As Dr. Hale remained suspended in that infinite expanse, the luminous beings revealed something that made his very essence tremble. "The veil is lifting," they said. "What has been hidden will soon come to light." In an instant, he was shown a cascade of visions, secrets buried for centuries, truths deliberately suppressed. He saw vaults of classified information, hidden technologies, ancient knowledge locked away by those who sought to control reality itself. It wasn't just about governments or institutions. It was about the very nature of existence. The way humanity understood history, energy, and consciousness had been carefully manipulated to keep people blind to their true potential. Then came 2025. Dr. Hale witnessed a year of unprecedented revelations, documents declassified, whistleblowers stepping forward with undeniable proof of long-concealed truths. The existence of non-human intelligences no longer speculation, but confirmed reality. Breakthroughs in energy and medicine emerging, technologies that could have reshaped the world decades ago but had been kept from the public. "The time of deception is ending," the beings said. But not all will accept the truth. He saw two reactions unfold across the world. Some embraced these revelations with awe, their minds expanding as they realized the universe was far more intricate than they had ever imagined. Others recoiled in denial, unwilling to let go of the comforting illusion they had known all their lives. Not everyone will awaken, the beings warned. Some will fight to preserve the lie, even as it crumbles before their eyes. And then, a final, chilling vision, an attempt to suppress the truth one last time, a desperate act by those in power to distract, to confuse, to instill fear. But it would not work. The great disclosure was inevitable. Those who see will lead the way, the beings told him, and nothing will ever be the same. With that, the vision faded, and Dr. Hale felt himself being pulled back. As he awoke in his hospital bed, heart pounding, he realized something profound. Humanity was standing at the edge of the greatest revelation in history, and whether the world was ready or not, the truth was coming. Hale stood in that ethereal expanse. He was shown another vision, one that sent a deep shiver through his being, towering structures of light and energy, machines pulsating with an intelligence beyond human comprehension. Technology was evolving at an unimaginable rate, but what he saw next revealed a dangerous crossroads. The tools of your age will either liberate or enslave you, the luminous beings warned. And the choice is near. In a flash, he witnessed both timelines unfolding. In one, humanity had embraced technology as a means of enlightenment. Quantum advancements merged seamlessly with human consciousness, expanding minds, enhancing intuition, even unlocking latent abilities within DNA. Artificial intelligence worked in harmony with human intelligence, accelerating spiritual evolution rather than replacing it. Free energy technology, long suppressed, finally emerged, lifting millions out of scarcity and suffering. The world was thriving. But then the vision shifted, and the alternative was chilling. He saw people willingly integrating with technology, but not for enlightenment. Microchips, neural implants, digital surveillance. Each innovation presented as convenience, but in reality, it was a leash. Governments and corporations, desperate to maintain control, were using AI to manipulate perception, filter reality, and suppress dissent. Thought itself was being regulated. The illusion of free will remained, but in truth, humanity had become a species imprisoned within its own creation. The same tools, the beings whispered, but opposite outcomes. Dr. Hale realized the terrifying simplicity of it. Technology itself was neither good nor evil. It was merely a mirror reflecting the intentions of those who wielded it. The question wasn't whether AI, quantum computing, or bioengineering would advance. It was who would control them. As the vision faded, the beings left him with one final warning. Beware of those who promise salvation through machines alone. True evolution comes from within. Then, with a jolt, he was back in his body. His heart raced. The machines monitoring his vitals beeped steadily beside him. He was alive. But now he understood. Technology was not the answer, nor was it the enemy. It was the battleground, and the war for the soul of humanity had already begun. As Dr. Hale's consciousness drifted through the luminous expanse, he became aware of countless others, souls connected by an invisible force, radiating a shared purpose. The beings around him turned their attention toward these individuals, and in that moment he understood he was not alone in this awakening. Across the world, others were receiving the same call. These are the ones who will guide humanity through the storm, the beings revealed. The lightworkers, the awakened. They have come to lift the veil. Visions flashed before him, ordinary people experiencing extraordinary transformations. Some were scientists like himself, suddenly unlocking knowledge beyond their formal training. Others were healers, artists, and teachers, each feeling an unshakable urge to share their wisdom. Some had never considered themselves spiritual, yet now found themselves receiving insights and synchronicities too profound to ignore. They were being activated just as he had been. But with the awakening came responsibility. The beings warned that not everyone would welcome this shift. Many would resist, ridicule, or even fight against it. "You will be called insane. You will be dismissed. But do not waver," they said. "Truth does not require permission to exist." Dr. Hale saw the path ahead. Challenges, yes, but also a great convergence. More and more awakened souls finding one another, forming communities, supporting each other as the old world crumbled and the new one emerged. "The time of isolation is ending," the beings reassured him. "The light is uniting." Then came the final revelation. He saw that awakening was not just personal, it was collective. The more people who embraced this shift, the easier it became for others to do the same. Every soul that aligned with this higher consciousness created a ripple effect, accelerating the transformation for the entire planet. "You are not here to convince," the beings told him. "You are here to embody. Be the light, and others will find their way." As the vision faded, Dr. Hale felt an overwhelming sense of purpose surge through him. He was no longer just a scientist. He was a messenger, a bridge between worlds. And he knew, beyond any doubt, that his mission had only just begun. As Dr. Hale stood in the presence of the luminous beings, he was shown yet another aspect of the transformation unfolding in 2025, one that struck at the heart of human connection. Relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, were undergoing a profound realignment. He saw bonds dissolving, others forming, and an undeniable force drawing certain souls together while pulling others apart. "The frequencies are shifting," the beings explained. "Those who resonate will rise together. Those who resist will drift apart." He saw countless individuals experiencing sudden, unexpected changes in their relationships. Lifelong friendships crumbling without explanation. Marriages ending seemingly overnight, families dividing along unseen energetic lines. But it wasn't out of hatred or betrayal, it was alignment. People were no longer able to force connections that no longer matched their evolving vibrations. At the same time, he witnessed the opposite phenomenon, new relationships forming with an almost mystical speed. Soul connections reuniting, people meeting others who felt instantly familiar, as if they had known each other for lifetimes. These were the ones embracing the shift, drawn together to support one another through the storm ahead. "Tribes are reforming," the beings told him. "Those who share the same frequency will find one another." Yet, they also warned of the pain that would come with this transformation. Many would struggle to let go, clinging to relationships out of nostalgia, obligation, or fear of loneliness. But forcing old energies to remain together would only cause suffering. "Let them go in love," the beings advised, "for in surrender you will find your true path." Dr. Hale saw one final vision: humanity no longer bound by superficial connections, but drawn together by purpose, resonance, and truth. A world where relationships were not dictated by tradition or social expectation, but by the soul's calling. It was not an easy transition, but it was necessary for what was to come. As the vision faded, he understood. 2025 would not just be a shift of the mind, but of the heart, and those willing to embrace it would find themselves surrounded by the people they were always meant to walk this path with. In the vast, luminous expanse, Dr. Hale was shown something that defied everything he had ever understood about reality. The beings guided his awareness beyond linear time, beyond the concept of a singular future. Instead, he saw multiple timelines unfolding, parallel versions of Earth, each shaped by the collective choices of humanity. Reality is not fixed, the beings revealed. It is a reflection of consciousness, and now it is splitting. Dr. Hale witnessed two starkly different Earths emerging. In one, chaos reigned. Fear, division, control. People clung desperately to the old world, resisting change, refusing to see beyond the illusions they had been conditioned to accept. Their reality grew darker, heavier, filled with struggle. This timeline was not a punishment. It was simply the natural consequence of resisting evolution. But then he saw another Earth, a world bathed in a golden light, where humanity had embraced the shift. In this reality, fear had given way to understanding, technology was used for liberation rather than control, and people lived in harmony with the energetic flow of the universe. Here, intuition was no longer dismissed as imagination, it was recognized as a vital force, guiding each soul toward its highest purpose. The old structures had crumbled, but in their place, something magnificent had risen. Dr. Hale was stunned. "Are these separate worlds?" he asked. The beings answered with a truth so profound it sent a shiver through his very essence. "They are not places, they are frequencies, and each soul will align with the one they are ready for." He saw how people on the same physical Earth could be living in completely different experiences, some trapped in fear, others stepping into unimaginable expansion, existing side by side, yet perceiving entirely different realities. The split wasn't about destruction or salvation, it was about resonance. "The choice is yours," the beings whispered, "and every thought, every action, every belief determines which world you will walk in." As he was pulled back to his body, Dr. Hale realized the magnitude of what he had seen. The future wasn't set in stone. Humanity wasn't waiting for an external event, it was shaping the outcome in every moment. The only question left was, which timeline will you choose? Dr. Richard Hale's experience was more than just a near-death event. It was a message, a revelation about the shift already unfolding. The world is changing. Consciousness is evolving. And whether we choose to embrace this transformation or resist it will determine the reality we step into. So now, I ask you, do you feel the shift? Have you noticed changes in your energy, your thoughts, your intuition? Share your experiences in the comments below. I want to hear from you. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's so much more to uncover, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. The awakening has begun. The only question left is, are you ready?